Morning, Guy. Yeah, so I've made some videos up, but the HD setting on the camera is so high, and I haven't been able to even upload them into YouTube. It's going to be a 30-minute video. I won't send it to you now, but I'll just go through it very quickly. And we need to prioritize, and I need to get your thinking right on the button with how we're going to stop pandemic risk. So our mission is to stop the virus at its source, to get and keep poor country community contamination pandemic risk to a factor of near zero or zero. And it's proven. We're not trying to put a theory forward. This is proven by Taiwan and all that. So there's 4 billion people, and it's a pandemic that's been caused by rich countries by not masking up, not stopping at its source, and they're poorly advising African countries and people are very misled. So I'm not the person to present this. I'm absolutely gutted that it's happened. Unnecessary global pandemic meltdown. So yeah, I'll go through this another time, but all for the sake of 20-cent fabric-made mask. There's a thing we've got to start wearing in all our presentations. This is really important. So you need some sort of scarf or something, and you know it's an attractive, and it has to be easily on and off, and you can explain that. So when we're telling it, we've got to be it. All right. So we've got to wear this, and no one is. So first thing is mask wearing by all. MBWA reduces pandemic risk to near zero. It's the single biggest COVID action to implement and must be prioritized above all other actions. Lockdowns are crippling, often unnecessary and not sustainable. So we want to stop community droplet contamination in air and surfaces near zero. Big part of this is we've got to stop the confusing and the bullshitting of people and stop supporting virus spread. Hand washing's obvious, but it doesn't stop virus droplets coming out of people's nose and mouth onto surfaces. Distancing does not guarantee protection. It only reduces our chance of being infected in the air. So distancing is important, but it shouldn't be a big yelling thing. All right? It's got to be this. So it doesn't stop. Distancing doesn't stop it at the nose, mouth, and source. Distancing is if you put a condom over someone's head and everyone's wearing it, there's no way the droplets can get out. You can be this close to a person and not get droplets spread in the air or on the surfaces. So the mask wearing by all just hugely gives us exponential gains. So the biggest pandemic advantage is COVID employs asymptomatic victims to unknowingly spread it. 30% of COVID infected people are hidden spreaders, so they're hiding out there. So you'll learn that when mask wearing by all is implemented, it delivers exponential gains to all other COVID actions. It increases the outputs of other actions like distancing 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, or 10,000 times or greater. So if we're stopping at the source, then the distancing, we're equivalent to 10 meters apart when we're only 2 meters apart. Hand washing, there's nothing on the surface. We're reducing the ability of protecting ourselves from hand washing 10,000 times if it's not getting out there. And also our big goal is to avoid lockdowns and meltdowns. So, it wins in two ways. Then we'll talk about which are the best masks and why. That Village Woman can make the material masks if they're implemented in the millions in days. So we've got a proven design, and for $50 you can make 500 masks in materials. We've got the human capital in Indonesia. Got 20 million women available with sewing machines. They're skilled, they make uniforms, and they can make 340 masks in 4 days. There's no importing, there's no logistics, there's no costs, and importantly, almost no funding needed by government, or villages, or NGO. But governments, of course, can accelerate this by supplying the material, or even getting masses of the fabric-made mask. But a fabric-made mask is 40 times more valuable than a short lifespan paper mask. Paper masks break at the strings, they can't be washed, and material masks equally filter or better. You can get material masks up to N9 standards. So material masks have a long lifespan, easily cleaned. When it's talking about needing material masks 4 months, a year, as the pandemic risk drops. So these masks, fabric-made masks for community equal to paper masks, mentioned that. Fabric masks have a paper filter pocket, so our ones have a paper filter pocket. It just takes away the moisture and all that. It can be changed, and you've got to remember something like this. This mask, it's only the equivalent of two tissue paper thicknesses, so we can put them inside our fabric-made masks if we need. Another important thing is the whole point of everything we're doing is to stopping droplet spread. So we stop it at the nose and mouth. This vents out, so this does not stop droplet spread. So it can come out all around here if you're infected and all that. We want to keep everything contained inside the mask. So masks like this are not as good as full mask, nose mouth coverings. Also, this type of mask is in our design. So our design is basically like this. You can see it's concertinaed, and as we breathe, it's loose, sort of loose fitting. We don't want tight fitting. You can see this comes in and out, so it that concertina effect. But tight. So yeah, the other thing is I'll come back to that. No shipping, transport. There's just no way we can ship and transport and deliver masks and trucks and import and just keep importing because they keep getting thrown away. The pollution and stuff. It's extreme low cost. Small materials needed. The price of one fabric mask is equal to the price of a paper mask. They're easy to make. They've got to be easy to make. Our design's been easy to make designs. It's a square design. They don't. Some have the strings on the ears, but the strings on the ears aren't practical because you have to take the mask on and off. And mask wearing is not about wearing the mask all the time. It's wearing the mask when you're in high-risk zones. You're walking home, you don't need your mask on, so you drop it up. You're coming into a supermarket or something, you put your mask on. So it's got to be nice, loose-fitting. We don't want tight-fitting. Tight-fitting masks can asphyxiate us. You start running with a tight-fitting mask, bang. Or you can't work in a tight-fitting mask, so we just need it to come on easy and on. And so we use strings around the back like here. So they're fast and easy to make, made in village homes, easily hand-stitched. A lot of our masks are hand-stitched. They come out just as good. So the village production does the delivery right on the doorstep. There's simple sewing machines everywhere through poor countries. Okay, the next thing. This is our team photos coming a few days ago. This is the problem. So be wise, focus, focus, focus. Prioritize, 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 move fast. So these actions do not stop viral droplet at the source and give near zero protection to pandemic spread. Don't confuse people with what's most important. So all the time, these stupid World Health Organization things and that, they're coming out and they've got a little booklet, and I bet you on the front of that booklet it does not say M mask wearing by all, MWBA. So there's page 6, hand washing. It's a fucking given, mate. It's just a fucking given. So don't clutter the minds of these people that think they're going to stop pandemic spread when this does nothing, absolutely nothing to stop pandemic spread. It's that fucking small in the big picture of pandemic spread. All right, it's important, of course, but it's not the message we need to get out. There's another one, page nicely printed. fucking sneeze in the elbow. Wear a mask. Where does it go? It goes in the mask. Sneezing in the elbow, it's everywhere. It's all over there. It's fucking still on the droplets. It's insane what our dumb Western people might. I watch my own governments. I can't watch the news, and all they've been saying is shit like that. So why is fabric mask design best for poor countries? Well, it's good for any country. Whether it's a mask or a nose and mouth covering, it doesn't matter. So it must be effective if you're in a high contamination risk zones. These type of masks that are fabric made with the pocket, you can see the filter pocket in here, really effective. It must be easy to breathe through. We mentioned that. It's tight fitting. Tight fitting works, but you won't. It's not sustainable. You're not gonna. People aren't gonna wear it for long. They're gonna put it over their nose and let their nose out. It must be easy to lift on and off the face as people move about from zero risk to high risk contamination zones. Because people don't need to wear them, like I mentioned, when they're walking in front. So again, this is not easy to remove from your face. You've got it there, you've got your baby, you take it off. Where did it go? You put it in you don't. And so it's not easy to take on and off. Whereas your sunglasses strings, we put our sunglasses on, we take them off when we're in our sailing boats. It must be easy. So it must be easy to put on, easy to put off. Don't restrict our ability to take in oxygen and all this. So that's the mask. That's not a really good mask. This one, it's a duckbill mask, so it's got a lot of air. It's not that practical. It's paper still, but you can see it's got a big void for catching. So that's the whole thing, and that's the point about the concertina mask, is as concertina's out, it's got a catching action rather than that tight looking fast. And we started making about 8 different types, and then we slowly made our way to this. When we started with disabled people in our sewing machines. 700 million instant masks. So for us, Guy, this is really important. Instant nose and mouth coverings. So our planet has about 1.8 billion Muslim people. At least 700 Muslim women are hijab wearing, and some are Indonesia. It's tied around here. Some big and bulky, some absolutely covered, perfect masks. And some Muslim countries have had low spread because half their population, or a lot of their population, a third of their population's already got a nose and mouth covering. So we simply need to amplify the public knowledge on this, and that hijabs are perfect as a tool to reduce droplet spread at the source. And we can also have it like this one we've designed. So again, some of them it comes across. The ladies are pinning it up. So for the sake of a simple string, pinning up is not making it easy on and off. So for the sake of a simple string, sexy string or whatever, they can pull it back. They can drop it down. They could even put a fabric piece of paper in there, but it's not necessary. So there's 700 instant masks for our poor countries. We can target that. Why? So we started this and I couldn't raise any money. People saying it didn't work. Masks are not necessary. Do not wear a mask. Masks are dangerous. They're saying things like, if you wear a mask, you need to go to fucking school. So we shouldn't ever compare a community outdoor setting with a hospital setting. So in a hospital, everything's highly contaminated. So they've taken it off here. But if you're infected, you're infected, So if you take the mask off here or touch your face, you're infected. You've got to go home, wash your hands, and all that sort of stuff. But so all this micro information, we've got to get rid of the micro information. All the stuff you know what it's like. We're micromanaging staff. You only tell them the main things. You tell them 30 things, they put the unimportant things at the beginning, but you said boss, and they don't do the most important thing. So it's like that with anything. So how did this all come about? Slow learning leaders who destroy their countries are dangerous advisors. World Health Organization have caused this. They've been saying don't wear a mask. We can go back in their history and we'll show you that. This is one of our we started in Africa, mate, mask making ladies, and she started marking, and the police come up to her and says, you can't put your masks outside your store. You're inciting fear. So she was banned from making masks. This is 3 months ago. Banned by the police, banned by the government, banned by the World Health Organization. So it all starts at these guys. They're a problem. So again, COVID lesson: focus, 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 prioritize, 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 and stop it at the nose and swim. So start winning or keep losing. In 3 months, we can be globally pandemic risk-free. So we're talking here about eliminating pandemic risk to zero, not little fire-ups and flare-ups. We can nail them as they come, and people can adjust their face mask behavior. If they're at low risk, they may not be wearing their face mask a lot, and then as the fear of God comes in them, the body bag comes out, people mask up fast. So we want to be mask prepared, and as soon as their Facebook gets going, they see the death man, they're getting serious. So at the moment, no one's that serious until it turns up on their doorstep. So the next thing is, if COVID takes both your health and economy, it has gained total victory. COVID's not just about killing people, it's about killing economies, which kill people as well. So that's the two things we've got to work on. This is something you might be able to use in paper. There's only one thing that starts COVID pandemic, only one thing. Viral droplet spread is expelled from the host's nose and mouth, reaching air and surfaces. There's only one thing that stops COVID pandemic. Stop viral spread from being expelled from the host's nose and mouth. Block it. Just that one thing. Stop viral spread. No host spread, no transmission, no pandemic. So I just want to get back to vaccination. So vaccinations do just that, don't they? They stop viral spread. They vaccinate you. There's no viral spread. From the nose and mouth, there's no viral spread coming. So we don't have vaccinations, but we do have masks, and we can implement masks very easy. So as I mentioned, the mission of COVID is to be a pandemic and destroy mankind in two ways. So the first way is he kills lots of people. With no mask wearing by all, he causes huge death, fear, suffering, hospital meltdowns. COVID destroys your health system. And puts all the fear in that out there. So you can see the loser countries just accelerated their deaths and suffering really fast. If we saw the winning countries, it's along here. There isn't any on winning countries, but not all are winning. They might have zero death, but loser countries also, COVID kills your economy, like New Zealand. So with no mask wearing by all, it destroys jobs, bankrupts companies, and trillions of dollars of loss in frickin' share market payouts. COVID lockdowns destroy your economy. So that's the thing you just can't do it. So you're a losing country if COVID has either killed lots of people, put your country in lockdown, and destroyed your economy, or both. For New Zealand, it was only that. So what's a COVID winning country? So these are COVID winning countries. They're masked up everywhere in public, and they set the example. Like I said, we've got to set the example. We've got to be the example. Wear a fucking mask if you want to have zero pandemic risk society. So yeah, and then we started with our thing: all wear a mask, all make a mask, all wear masks. No lockdowns, no job loss, stability, freedom. So out there in the community, that's not a Western community. We have not learned. In the airplane, these are incubators. You're going to find out airlines are going to be sued for causing pandemic spread. So loser countries, do not wear a face mask countries. So USA, England, Belgium, Italy, Spain, France, Sweden, Germany, Canada, Holland. They lost their stability. They've got public civil unrest and anger against lockdowns, and they are hungry or going broke or simply getting cabin fever, depressed. So they lose their stability. Pandemic period, it's going up. Loser countries. And this came out from World Health Organization. This was everywhere, right? Do not wear a face mask. So that Amazon and that they banned Amazon from selling face masks. And people weren't allowed to buy face masks. And we'll talk about that later. And there's another thing here. Do not wear a face mask if you're unwell. A third of the people don't even know they're sick. So they're just wandering around. Do not wear a face mask. This was everywhere. Loser countries do not wear face masks. So this is the economy. Mention this. So these are Australia, New Zealand, America, England, Belgium. Their economies have just crashed. So New Zealand lost it. So we went into pandemic safety. We didn't wear face masks, but we lost by our economy, lost billions that our future kids just won't be able to pay out. You can notice here there's even fucking signs made. When Dr. Fauci the Chinese people accused Dr. Fauci of misleading the American public. He's the head of the American DEA, and he said only wear a face mask. He didn't need to wear a face mask because he'd been tested for coronavirus. Basically, the Chinese public just shaking their heads. So how'd that virus cause? So what happened is these planes, nobody was mask wearing up, not like Asian countries. They come back, they flew all over the freaking world. We just accelerated COVID something wickedly, and then we had these crowds, stupid American crowds, not a face mask in sight in these things when these people were coming home. Incubators on the planes. A plane, of course, the COVID goes through. They just breathe it out. It touches the surface. It's in the air. It's circling around as they walk down the fucking aisles. They're catching it there. They're catching it there. At these high risk points. Winning countries all choose a mask wearing by all response as a first response. So you can see here on the graph. So all the loser countries that fucking killed people, that accelerated. When they wore masks, like Hong Kong and that, it didn't accelerate up there. But you can't see the countries like Taiwan and that because they're not even on here. So the real non-wearing mask down here, just nothing. 4 deaths in Taiwan, 24 million people, same as Australia. Their unemployment went from 4.3 to 4.7% because of exports. They have not even been touched. And they've got these signs out there. How do we beat this thing? Everybody wear a mask. So, first response countries, low death toll. Taiwan 0.3, Hong Kong 0.5. No lockdowns, no job loss. No mask country response. High death tolls. Spain 544 per million compared to 0.3 of Taiwan. UK 423. That's gone through the roof now. UK and herd effect and other ridiculous things. And lockdowns and massive job loss. Low to no job loss down. And the winning countries lost their jobs only because of the losing countries. So. The other thing is, I've met lots of them. They're out there on TV and that, and these are these influential medical people. He's an expert at that, expert at this, and they've been saying you don't need. There's no proof. Here's one a few days ago. There's no proof face masks work, and you only need them if you're unwell. It is absolute shit. These guys have to get up to speed. They're going to be embarrassed. They've fucking created genocide. These people with these big voices, and just stop listening to them. It's crap. They need to wake up. So there's one of them. It's that easy. Wear a mask, Boris Johnson. There's the crowds at the airports. These are the signs that were up there. Wash your hands. Don't wear a mask. These are World Health Organization signs. Spraying inside. Put your hand up over your mouth. Look at the crowds of people and just don't wear a mask. Facebook template. Yep. And you can see here, the spray. When this is really important fact, there's a cough or a thing. Now, very few people cough to spread COVID, but that can output over 3,000 droplets. Just one droplet has got tens of thousands of virus cells. They can just scatter along the surfaces. So, okay, war. There's only 3 pandemic actions to take. Only 3. There's attack, defend, and retreat. Retreat is defeat. All right. So attack is the only action to attack to end COVID is to destroy it at the source, block it at its nose and mouth. Or of course vaccines, but we haven't got vaccines. So again, we attack it with a face mask. That's it. It's the only attacking action. Defending actions. Once the virus has dropped out on the mouth and surfaces, the virus has done its job. It's won. It's out there. All right. So all defending actions after that are actions that are on the back foot. So defense actions or defeat actions, hand washing. It's already out there. distancing. It's already out there. Testing, track and tracing. They're all defending actions. Now, retreat and defeat actions. Retreat is where you've been overwhelmed, or your pandemic just scared. So retreat is lockdown. Stay at home means you're being defeated. All right, you've lost your economy, you've lost your lives, or you lost both. And after lockdown, though, you get a chance to come back. So what do? They're coming back in the States. They've been locked down. They've got the advantage of no movement. So over the 4 weeks, it's all decayed, and then they're coming back. What are they doing? They're not mask wearing by all. They're coming back into it, and it's just going to accelerate again. It's ridiculous. So no host transmission, no movement, blocking at nose and source, no pandemic. So we're getting this across. Stupid things like this, she has got a mask, but spraying in public. These are the things, the hoax, the don't wash. Loser leaders should not be advising poor countries. They just don't get it yet. Here's a little story in a hospital where hospitals in the early days, hospitals were big infectors of big infectors of the community. People would come into the hospitals. Hospitals are big, high contaminated risks. The viruses don't die quickly, and people were picking it up on hospitals. When research was done on some hospitals where made mask wearing by everybody, customers, patients, everybody, it reduced the hospital spread, the contamination spread down by half. So this is just a bit of. So this gives you an idea, a strong idea. It's a graphic I stole, but of a person, supermarket or village, and how far droplets and aerosols can go. But what's more importantly, they're in the air for about 3 minutes. All right, but on the surfaces, they're down there for ages, and it enclosures with stainless settings and that. And a mask can block 95 up to 100% droplets can be caught by the face mask, depending how it's worn. So all of a sudden we've got our infected person, he's wearing a mask, nothing's getting out. It's that fucking simple, So there's the mask. A single cough can produce 3,000 droplets or tens of thousands of virus cells. So now if everybody's masked up, which we have to do, then of course we've got the catching action of the mask. Now the blocking action's got very little work to do, and that can block any kind of air stuff, because not everybody's going to wear a mask until they get it right. So the mask blocking action is improved up to 100%. So the person who's wearing a mask, he's got and the ratio is greater than 98:2 of the catching versus the blocking. Here's running side by side. It's really rubbish. So just because you're running forward, it goes out the back. No, it doesn't. The wind takes it this way, left and right. So this great graphic's telling you run beside each other. It's an absolute load of shit. Just put a fucking mask on. All right, so the guy's got a mask, nice loose fitting, so it doesn't affect his running. He can still look cool, and it's blocking it right at the source. There's nothing coming up in the air, and this guy behind him safe. So there's a 98:2 ratio. I'll talk about that later, but it's greater than that, 99:1 or whatever, catching and blocking. So distancing is of course important, but it's common sense how it works. The further away we are, the less chance of risk. Over 2 meters is safer, they're saying. Under 2 meters, all it is less safe. You still can catch it if you sit there long enough in front of someone. 2 meters, wind blows it across or whatever, you've got it, and then you're touching it. So touching surface, it's all out. So most infections are caused by asymptomatic people. 30% of the population, he doesn't know he's infected. So they don't know they're infecting others, they're killing others. So we have to have mask wearing by all. 30% of COVID, this is the strength of COVID, people don't know they're infected. They're wandering around, they're not even sure they've got a flu or a cold, some of them, kids, all that stuff, and it's out there. So we've got to have mask wearing by all. Got some graphics there if you need them. Yeah. Mask wearing by all, MWBA and FMWA. FMWA is just fabric mask wearing by all, so that's a big thing. we've gone through this, getting it down to zero pandemic risk. We're after zero pandemic risk. We're not worried about little squirts here and there. There's our teams. There's Trump is out there blurting, "Don't wear a face mask." Why all must wear a face mask and nose and mouth? Well, we've mentioned that, but basically, partial mask wearing is not much better than no mask wearing when we're looking at it from a pandemic risk point of view. It's the total effect is to get the pandemic risk level to near zero, and if you've still got a percentage of people out there not wearing a mask, you're not getting it. It's got to all be worn by everybody, and that's what we're doing a lot in Lombok now. We're our guys are with the police, locking down people, making sure they've got that mask. So, why we must all wear masks? Yes. So again, COVID's greatest threat is it hides amongst us. It has two hidden sources: asymptomatic infected people. So around a third of them have no symptoms and don't know they or feel sick. They happily spread the virus droplet to air and surfaces from their nose and mouth. And then pre-symptomatic people, this is before and after infection. So in poorer countries, they feel fine before, they're infecting the family, they're putting the droplets all around the house, all that stuff, and unknowingly being COVID's best mate. So that's around 4 weeks, that's why we have a 4-week lockdown period. So that's asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic, a week before and the week after. So they come out, they're still feeling okay, they're not wearing a mask, they're wandering around society. So we try to get these people, in their stay-at-homes. So stay-at-home's important. And also sick and dying people, of course, are spreading it. So in hospitals, these people know they're sick, and they're in hospitals and they're breathing normally. They've got respirators on and all that. So, or they're in houses. In poor countries, they'll be in houses. They are spreading virus droplets. So it must be in a room and contained. Pandemic criteria. So, of course, no host transmission, no virus replication. Reduced movements in crowds, of course. Natural virus decay. This is the next big thing I want to talk about is the biggest killer by far in the planet's natural anesthetic is natural virus decay, and we don't have that in hospitals. So the outdoors in direct sunlight can decay in hours. They kill viruses, and of course time kills viruses. That's why we have 4-week lockdown. So it's a matter of time. So time, natural virus decay, no host, no transmission, no pandemic. So that's that. Okay, this is real important. These next 3 slides we can use. So this is our sick person and his droplets spread to air and surfaces, and this is natural virus decay. Now normally this is the only thing that kills the viruses. So it's the largest virus resistance in outdoors and indoors, but outdoors. But basically without we get pandemic result, because the natural virus decay, there's lots of people, we get pandemic result. In this case is 100% of droplets spread on surfaces and air. So now we've got no mask wearing, but we've got the natural virus decay, which is just massive compared to distancing. So distancing gives us some protection from the air, but not to the surfaces. And then the combined effects of hand washing and all that, which are very, very small compared to natural virus decay. So, the hours this virus is in the sunlight, it reduces the risk here. But still we get a pandemic result and we get infected masses by distancing and combined hygiene effects will not top. We reduce pandemic risk to near zero. It is high risk. So, single person mask blocking, we mentioned that, just one person out here. But generally you've got all these other things. You've still got infected maxons because there's not enough of these guys to doing it. So, when we're wearing a mask, we're only getting, if we're in a really high contaminated air zone, we might only be getting an 80%, 90% blocking action coming in. Catching action, we catch in up to 100. So 70-95% sort of blocking. That's why in hospitals, they need really good masks to block it. They've got a different purpose. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Mask wearing by all. So we've got our mask catching action, 98 to 100%. And we've got our natural virus decay. Well, because nothing's getting out there into the environments now because of the catching, we've significantly dropped the workload. Natural virus decay is just doing very little because there's very little getting out there. Then distancing is doing even more little. It's just almost insignificant because we've caught it all here. Hygiene and all that's got hardly any workload to do because we've caught it all here. And then the face mask that this guy's wearing, because all must wear it, mate, face mask, it's giving him protection against in the air. So we're getting a near zero community contamination factor. If we take that out and all communities doing it, we're getting a near zero pandemic risk, country risk. Okay, yeah. The next thing is so the importance of all these other COVID actions here, mask catching, then natural decay, and then we're improving the outputs of distancing, 100 times, 10 times, 1,000 times of hygiene and all that. 10,000 times. If it's not on the surfaces and you're washing your hands, there's nothing to wash off. So the improvements to all these other activities greatly increased. The virus leakage factor, well, we have a factor in communities. This depends on how many people don't wear their masks, or are they wearing them in the right places. A lot of my boys are out there and we're running around mask on all the time. We don't need to. You're just in the outdoors. You don't need to. So this virus leakage factor includes people, non-mask wearing people spreading it. It includes people in their homes. So you might have an asymptomatic person in your home, and he's spreading it in the homes. But when he goes out, he's wearing a mask. He can't do it. The droplets and that. Someone in the home, eventually, it'll come up and it'll contain that home or contain that village in the homes. But it doesn't break the economy. Just going over it again. This is the losers. So losers who don't wear masks. So they rely a lot on natural virus decay in the community. So the amount of COVID viral cells expelled, there's thousands of millions coming out from people all over surfaces, thousands of millions, and then this is exponential graph. All right, so distancing, it might be preventing 10,000 virus cells in the air. It's very low because, of course, it's not all in the air. Most of it's on the surfaces, spreading it. So distancing, but it's still a good thing to do. Hygiene and hand washing, social behaviour, not handshaking and that stuff. Test, track and trace, all those things. So we're reliant on all them, and they're not up to it. It doesn't stop at the nose and mouth. So then we've got the other thing, is our extreme options, our defeat options, which is reduced public movement, stay at home, isolation, lockdown. We've lost. The virus has beaten us if we've locked down, and we don't need to, for the sake of this is exponential gains. Let's just see if I can do this. So if we bring a mask in here and we start blocking it at the source, you can see the gains. What happens? This is 1,000, but as that creeps down on the exponential scale, it reduces down to near, ones and twos of viral cells. So as we put our mask wearing by all, hang on. Yeah, so we put our mask wearing by all in, our natural virus decay reduces exponentially. So that blocks it at the source. Natural virus decay. Our distancing's got almost nothing to do. Hand washing's got nothing to do. Social behaviour's got very little to do. Test, track and trace has got very few to find, blocking it at the source. So we should be telling the message in the same proportional way. Mask wearing by all is going to frickin' make all these really effective. That's it. So why are we talking about all this little stuff in business? You go bankrupt. So, with that mask, near pandemic risk zeros gains, right? And then we just focus on the flare-ups as they come, depending on the risk of your society. New Zealand's got none here, so we got very little flare up, but it costs us zillions, So test, track, and trace really important for flare ups. Staying at homes, lockdowns, and then of course we're waiting for vaccination. But when will poor countries get it? The next thing we'll just go through is this is the big reason why our advice hasn't been good, and the big reason why is community settings can't be compared with hospital settings. Everybody advising us has come from a hospital background, right? And they're not taking into the two things, the two big things, the two big differences between a hospital setting and an outdoor setting or a community setting. And that is, in a hospital, some people wearing masks, or a lot now, but and so that they have only a proportional mask catching action. The sick people don't wear masks; they need to breathe, and so they don't have in a hospital no natural virus to escape. There's nothing in the hospital that there's no sunlight coming in, so their natural virus decay, which is the biggest by far in a community setting, they've got very low natural virus decay, and they've also got no distancing. In the communities, farmers and all that, they've got distancing in places where we're squashed together. Of course we haven't, and we wear our masks, but they have no distancing in the hospitals, because it's indoors. And the other big thing is their surfaces. So surfaces, just even hands, we've got acid and things in our hands. Viruses don't last long on outdoor surfaces. If the sun's hot and beating them, bang, it's killing them. But if it's on a stainless handrail and it's not in the sun, underneath, it'll last. So the surfaces in hospitals, 4 days, the virus will happily live on a nice piece of stainless steel or plastic. And it's been, this research showing COVID can do 9 days on these surfaces. Humidity is another thing, and that. So it's a high risk zone for patients, doctors, and health workers, these things. So how do they get around it? They're disinfectant focused. So they're disinfecting hospitals to make them safe, and hand washing and sneeze in the elbow focused. So this is where this false message to communities has come from. Disinfecting. They're out there with their spray packs in poor countries, spraying every fucking thing. They don't need to be doing this. It's a placebo. It makes them feel like they're wasting money, not focused, and off topic. They go bankrupt like doing shit like this in business. So those are the people that said the damn thing. There's countries that are telling people that they must have fucking hand gloves on when they're out in public. What does it do? A hand glove doesn't stop it at the moment itself. It's a surface that makes the virus live longer. It's plastic. So if they get any on them, it's increased their things. Hands and that, again, it's got that acid. It's out there. You can wash your hands. In a hospital setting, of course, they wear gloves. They get blood all over them, all that. They don't touch anything. They take the glove off and drop it in the rubbish. So this is the dumb information out there, glove wearing. So it's just insane, the hype that's come out of these things. Yeah, this is a hospital type setting, so they've got a high leakage, and it's extreme high risk thing. Does distancing stop pandemics? Just gone through that. Distancing does not stop pandemics or droplets going from that nose and source. Distancing only reduces your probability of infection by air. Distancing does not protect against surface droplets. The problems faced by distancing, now this is really important. You can't get people to distance. You're seeing this in Western countries. It's just impossible for people to distance. It doesn't protect them much. It just reduces their factor. You're fucking telling police to distance people. You're putting microphones over beaches and everything for people to distance, where they're in the sand, where, just getting to die. They're just going insanely distancing. Turn TV on in any Western country, it's fucking distancing. There's not even a mention of mask wearing by these fools, by these people who created this whole pandemic. So distancing, of course, is important, but keep it in its place. So mask wearing by all, it makes distancing exponentially greater. So there's your 2 meters, but you're not safe. Wind, you're just not safe. You're just more safe from it. So 2 meters is not safe, but it's a better thing to do. If both people are wearing masks, wow, you've increased your safety. Put a condom over 2 people's heads. Again, you can be 10. It probably makes 2 meters equal to 10 meters, or 2 kilometers, frickin' like between countries. You know, you've stopped everything. So yeah, just exponential gains. So 2 meters when mask wearing by all is greater than 10 meters without masks. So you can see it in the graph here. Another thing you can use. Everybody's wearing a mask. This guy's infected. He doesn't know he's infected. 100% of his droplets are spread. Bang! It drops there. So the distancing effect is nothing. All right. So airborne, and you've gained the surfacing. Loser countries. I mean, we saw this all over TV. It just makes me sick. You know, all this propaganda, sneezing elbow. Where's it going? It's all over the surfaces, everything, you know. A mask. Can't go anywhere. So, I don't know. The public must be absolutely stupid. You know, we trust our governments and they've let us down. She's not allowed to blow tobacco smoke in your face. She's not allowed to blow tobacco smoke in your face. But she's totally allowed to blow COVID in your face. All right? So she's saying, my body, my choice. This is a dangerous girl, a dangerous person. So these people are socializing in public. They're high risk, and then they're out there, and they're not covering their nose and mouth. They could kill it. So, you know, so we're not allowed to do this smoking. We can smell it, and yet we're allowed to put droplets all over the place. So there's going to be laws for this. And it's the human rights. So my father, when he goes to the supermarket, he should be without fear. And then other people should be able to go to markets in poor countries without risk or fear. So we need, there will be laws after this, and they'll be coming in now. So basically, no infected person has the right to infect their communities or cause the death of other people by not wearing a face mask or no mouth covering when in public. So no one has the right during a pandemic setting to be out there without a face mask on, causing possible death and community contamination. So, you know, anybody like this lady who's saying it's my body, it's not. It's just like the smoking. So this is another one. So this is a government piece of propaganda out there again, from loser countries. So practice good personal hygiene, and you know, hand washing. Doesn't say distancing. Wash and avoid. Okay, but it says here, this is propaganda. You can just find this stuff all over the internet. Although many places are closing it down because they're going to get sued for this. They've caused, you know, genocide. Do not wear a face mask. So on that piece of information by the governments, wash your hands, do not wear a face mask. Loser countries, they've all paid the price. So losing countries have lied to their people by promoting mask wearing by all does not work. This is World Health Organization, MDA, America. They've done mass media campaigns. They're leaving the world confused now. There's false science and reason, and they've put so much in to convince you mask wearing by all was dangerous. In doing so, removing the only option to reduce global pandemic. Taiwan begged World Health Organization to take its advice, and they shut it out. Then, you know, the next thing losing countries is they ban people and influence people to not wear a face mask. So why did they do this? Why did World Health Organization and them losing countries tell us not to wear a face mask and lie to us? Western leaders held millions of face masks in storage, paper ones. We could have used fabric ones, you know. They could have made us, we could have all been making these in no time. 20 cents. WHO, World Health Organization, you find this in the paper and everywhere. No evidence wearing a mask can protect healthy people from coronavirus. Jesus Christ. It's everywhere, and it's still out there. There's still morons out there believing the crap that they've been told. There's still doctors and heads of people. No evidence. It's absolute. So yeah, so fearing emergency services would run out when the C-19 pandemics hit. Losing countries campaigned to public that face masks did nothing to protect them and not to buy them. So they wanted to protect those, make sure they didn't run out because they weren't pandemic prepared. COVID lesson, losing countries were not pandemic skilled or prepared. Western advisors would not listen to Taiwan and other Asian pandemic proven experienced countries. They've had other pandemics before, swine flu and all that. So an interesting thing is about how good masks are is in Hong Kong at this time of year they normally get about 2,700 people who would have influenza, and they'd be in there hit hard by influenza and then respiratory problems and all this. So normally they would have 2,700. Since they've been not in lockdown, but since they've been in mask wearing by all country, they have brought their influenza level in the hospital, 0 people from influenza. Mask wearing by all stopped it. They had all those other things, distancing, hygiene and all that as well. But they didn't lock down until they hit little peaks that they playing extra safe, but they wiped out influenza. So that just shows how powerful mask wearing by all is. Did World Health Organization cause the global pandemic spread? Did World Health Organization cause the global pandemic spread? Yes, most definitely they are directly responsible for global pandemic spread. You tell people not to wear a face mask in communities and all that, and they don't wear it, and then you spread it, and then you watch these countries melt down. They are them, Donald Trump, all the leaders, herd effect. So what can countries do, losing countries do? So they've got all their defending actions, they're doing all the distancing, but they've lost their stability, they've lost their economies and all that. Some point they've got to learn, they've got to change, they've got to swing straight back up, get into mask wearing by all. They'll get guaranteed stability, and pretty quickly, 3 months, the world will be out of pandemic risk. We'll just be mopping it up until the vaccines come, step by step. So the end of the story is, for the sake of a 20 cent fabric made mask worn by all, global pandemic acceleration would have never been brought to near. It wouldn't have brought the world to near standstill. We would have slowed it right down to near zero. So COVID lesson, our global C-19 meltdown was totally unnecessary and avoidable crisis. So, either start winning or keep losing. So you follow losing countries, you will lose. Follow winning countries, you will win. So keep dying or start living. Again, I'm very passionate about this. And I'm just sad, it's maybe one last thing, and that is at the top here. Okay, so the thing that's really affected me is totally unnecessary. Donald Trump and all those guys are deflecting now. They're blaming others. They've lost all the money in the world, so we can't go on to be, for our generations and our futures, we've got no money left in this planet to fight the big issues like environmental, our oceans, climate change, clean water, poverty, all this. We've just drained it by this stupid event. And say another pandemic comes, are we going to do the same mistake? So, these things, but what's even more worryingly is in Donald Trump and all these people deflecting blame to China, getting us all hyped up so he can get in power again. We're gonna be a stage closer to war. So we need to end this pandemic and get this pandemic risk levels down to zero, especially in poor countries. So thank you very much for listening.